Previously on Chop Cut Rebuild.
Okay, today I had Dan working the air chisel. He helped us chisel quite a bit apart, which really wasn't that much on this car. It's just 2 quarters in the back end. For someone that doesn't do it that often, I thought he did a good job.
This car's got a lot of provenance. It's one of 505 cars. So we're making an extra effort because everybody agreed we should.
AMD pallet showed up today. That was all the parts for the AMD 69 Camaro we're building. To put a Camaro together, a 69 coupe, usually takes 7 to 8 days, 64 hours or so to put a complete car together. The floor, inner outer quarters, roof structure, cowl, rear of the car, trunk and tail pan.
Greg's here today with us and did the original rendering.
I mean, congratulations. I heard Ford loved it, but they want you to do it on a different vehicle.
Shag carpeting, gonna be a must. If it's the shagging wagon, we gotta have shag carpeting.
Fur shag carpet. We're gonna have some fur trim around things.
Yeah.
Lines are drawn and the projects are about to be built. Even my garage will get in on the action.
Hey, Dan, it's good to see you cleaning up for once.
Yeah, it's nice to see you bringing something I can play with for once.
Yeah.
All right, it's dirty, so we can clean it and then ride it maybe.
Sounds like fun.
You know, we're halfway there. It looks good. We just got to get it to run.
You don't like it when I just push you?
Well, we'll pop the clutch. Go.
All right.
Yoo-hoo!
This is Chop Cut Rebuild. Real cars. Real techs. Real deadlines. Hosted by Dan Woods. Chop Cut Rebuild.
Attempting a color change on a vehicle is not something for the faint of heart. In fact, most professional shops will try and steer a customer away from it. But this is a place to learn, not to earn.
Okay, Charles, maybe grab a smaller flathead screwdriver, and I think we're going to need a Phillips as well. Right. I am Brian Sawola. I am a street rod instructor at Blairsville, Wyotech.
Morning.
Hey, morning, Dan. How are you?
Good.
When Dan arrived this morning, we were preparing all 4 doors for the color change from the white to the silver.
So this isn't really jamming, right? Jamming's on the vehicle.
Technically, yeah.
Okay. This is just painting components.
Painting components, yep.
Okay, all right. So we gotta hide all this? Is this all gonna be silver?
I think we're going to do it just to be safe because we're not exactly sure where the trim components are going to interact with this panel.
Okay.
So we're going to paint as much silver as possible on this panel.
All right.
My name is Charles Toff. I've been at Wyotech since last September. It's almost a year now. Brian asked me and Dan to get the doors ready, prep them up, get them taped in, ready for paint. The first thing me and Dan did was strip the parts off.
Are we trying to take every component off?
We're not going to take every single component off, like this cable assembly.
Right.
Given the length of it and the complexity of how it's routed internally, we're going to try and just push it down inside the door. The way the wiring mechanism was routed internally, there was probably 4 or 5 attachment points located within. So we opted to just disconnect the cable assemblies and push them into the interior of the door where they would be protected from overspray. Probably the biggest challenge we faced today was, for disassembly purposes, was the front fascia. The tabs proved difficult to remove with the tooling that we had available to us.
So when we put this back together, and there's 5 of these Torx things still left over, are we just gonna take the position that we improved it?
Weight reduction.
Weight reduction and makes it faster.
I like that strategy.
Once we got into it, I was surprised how easily it did come apart.
Okay, well, if we did break anything, duct tape is the handyman's secret weapon.
There we go.
Okay, this is everything we need for the next phase.
For the next phase, indeed.
Tape.
Tape, wax and grease remover, Scotch-Brite pads, and white balls.
Those work. All right, what are we doing first?
We used 3M Scotch-Brite pads to scuff the door to get all the shine off. The more shine you have off, the better the paint will lay.
There's not much shine left. Kind of looks like a toilet seat now.
That's a good thing, though, in this situation.
Okay. Charles, you ever heard of a program called EBD Works?
No?
No? It's a great program. I love it. I don't think we can implement it here right now, but one day you'll see it and you'll know what I mean.
Okay. I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's everyone but Dan. Now, Shane, you're going to be painting these, right? Yep.
My name is Shane Sparks, and I'm from Richmond, Kentucky. What I'm really looking for as far as prep work on the doors before I go to paint them is that all the finish and the shine is knocked off.
We definitely wanted a student to have gun time while painting the van, so we selected Shane to do the jam work for us. Shane as a student had outstanding attendance, was very attentive in class, very helpful.
For a student to get the nod as the painter on this project shows just how confident the staff is of the skills they're developing. To paint a SEMA project is more than a footnote on a resume.
You guys take the doors, and I'll take that really heavy scissor stand.
Okay.
All that's really left to teach these guys is how to delegate work efficiently, like I've learned to do.
Don't hurt yourself, Dan.
Man, these things are heavy.
Yes, lead by example, I say.
Okay, that's good?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, so you've got the other two done already?
Yep, the other two are already painted.
Can I see them?
Yep.
Okay. Wow, those are very silvery.
Very silvery.
Big difference. So is this already got base clear?
Yep, clear coat's already on there and set.
The difference in the silver we're applying versus a factory applied silver, I think would really be in the size of the flake itself. The larger the flake, the more reflective it is and the more brilliant effect it has.
This is ready for primer, which means I'm ready for the plate.
This portion of Chop Cut Rebuild is brought to you by AMD, Auto Metal Direct. The name says it all.
With a complete body for their 69 Camaro project delivered, the team at Real Deal Steel in Sanford, Florida is wasting no time turning AMD parts into panels.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Dan, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
My name is Randy Irwin. I'm one of the owners of Real Deal Steel in Sanford, Florida. Before Dan got here today, we kind of already prepped some of the metal, got some of the E-coat off of it.
Wow, you've moved along quite a bit. Last time I saw this, it was just upside down.
Yeah, we went ahead and built the floor for you, put
Okay.
the frame rails on, the lower valance, and we just finished up putting the heater delete firewall on. My name is Mike Vineyard. I work at Real Deal Steel, and I've been assembling Camaros for 2 years.
The floors are, it was two pieces, right?
Yep, it was 2 pieces, and now there's about 7 pieces all together now.
7 out of, what would you guess?
About 58.
58, that's not a guess. That's pretty accurate.
Once or twice.
Can I help you with anything?
Sure, we're just getting ready to put the jig in it.
All right, good.
The first fixture we put down in the car is held down with 2 half-inch bolts in the back and 2 3/4-inch nuts in the front. Dan was ready to work as soon as he came into the door this morning. I could tell.
Well, ready to work and doing the work aren't really the same thing.
Then why'd you give me the extra washers?
For the bottom.
For the bottom?
For the bottom.
Oh, I gotta go underneath.
Yeah.
But this goes up.
It's a bit of a challenge to build the fixture. First off, we have to find a good square car. Once we do that, we take a tram gauge and we check everything and we get it as good as we think it is. And then we have to make sure when we're building that fixture that we can disassemble it and get it back out of the car. So you kind of have to think about 3 steps ahead. The fixture locates everything. We have square and round pegs and spacers and stops that push up against the inner and outer panels and locate everything. Once Dan and Mike installed the fixture, they installed the package tray. The package tray goes at the back of the car, underneath the back glass, goes above the wheel tubs and in between the quarter panels. And then they do what we call the package tray drop-offs that come down and go right behind the back seat.
So this nub that's here locates on this part of the tray?
Yes, it'll locate the package tray left to right and forward to right.
And you can't move it any other way?
No.
So that's locked now. I can't go anywhere?
Correct.
And it's plus or minus what, a 30-second maybe?
Maybe a 30-second, 64.
64 at the most. So that's minimal. That's like way below what the factory used to
yeah.
give you. Okay.
A lot of people probably think all that is to hold the package tray and some 6x9 Craig speakers, but that actually is what ties the left and right quarter together, inner quarter together. It goes all the way to the trunk, and the back glass panel goes on top of that. It is really The whole back of the car is what's supported off of that.
The seat back braces require 2 welding techniques, the spot welder on the top to the package tray and the MIG welding on the bottom to the floor. I think Dan might have been practicing his MIG welding techniques because he was looking pretty good. He might be up for taking my spot here pretty soon.
And kids are playing video games.
I think if we could create a spot welding video game, we could wipe out unemployment. I know I'd play.
Once the package tray was installed and the seat back stops, we installed the side panels. A lot of times we don't get the side panel as an assembly. Sometimes we get it as the inner and outer wheel tub, the C-pillar, the roof structure, the A-pillar, the cowl shoulder, and the inner outer rocker. But when we get that whole assembly, that saves us about 2 hours per side.
You've cut the tubs out here, right?
Yes, we've already cut the tub so it fits in there.
All right.
We offer 2 different versions for the Camaro. The stock wheel well, which you can only go up to an 8-inch wide wheel, or the wider wheel well, which is 2 5/8 inches wider, and you can go up to a 13-inch wheel.
Once we had both side assemblies on, we were able to lift the car and rotate it to each side to be able to spot weld down the pinch weld to the rockers. After I spot welded the first side assembly to the floor, I could tell Dan was getting very antsy and he wanted to try his hand at doing the second side. Right, now we're going to pull the inner quarters together so they bottom out against our fixture that we put in.
Oh, okay. That's an important step right now.
Oh yeah.
So the ratchet straps are pulling both B-pillars in together?
Yes. We have to use the ratchet straps and our locking pliers to pull the inner quarters together because otherwise they'd be too far out and your back glass might slip through if we weld it together.
In, up. Wow. That was easy. That's just like East Coast and West Coast working together again. Norwood, Van Nuys, building 69 Camaros.
This portion of Chop Cut Rebuild is presented by Wyotech. Make your passion your career. Turn pro at Wyotech.
Right from the start, the Wyotech team knew that their Ford SEMA van project was going to rely heavily on interior modifications. After all, that's what the whole van era was about. It was, what did you have inside that van that made it rockin' so that you wouldn't be knocking? In our early development meetings with Wyotech, I told them that it was vital that we have an instructor that really understands that whole 70s era and what was going on with vans. And they said not to worry, they've got somebody. Hey, are you Keith?
Hey, baby, what's happening?
Hi.
They told me you were coming in today.
Yeah, they did.
So I figured I'd get in my 70s era here and try to figure out what's going on.
What's really under here?
Oh, what happened? It changes in 50
yeah,
years, doesn't
okay,
it?
Yeah.
My name's Keith Miller. I'm a instructor here at Wyotech for Trim and Upholstery. So this morning Dan arrived and we had the van ready in the back there. We were going to put 2 sunroofs in it and cut the porthole windows in it. Hey Dan, I want to introduce you to a couple of students that are going to be giving us a hand here.
Okay.
This is Bill.
Hey Bill.
Gerard.
Hey Gerard.
How you doing?
Good.
So we're gonna be cutting some holes in some vans.
You know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to wince in a couple of moments.
Yeah, so it's a brand new van.
I know.
The first thing we wanted to tackle when Dan got here was putting cutting out the holes for the portal windows. We had them laid out on the side. We had to put them in a certain position so they wouldn't interfere with the inside framing.
This is going to be the porthole window?
That's the porthole window area right there. As of right now, there's really no rendering of the interior. So we're kind of playing it by ear for now until we can see what we have to work with.
You were going to
Yeah,
cover
I'm kind
this?
of laying out some panels of how everything's going to be laid out. It's going to be a angled U-shaped bed in the back. So with a table that comes up, drops down, makes it a bed.
All right, well, let's see what it looks like when we start cutting.
Sounds good. When we first started cutting it out, I had Bill outline it with the masking tape. He went through collision refinishing, so he got a feel for masking things off. We used a blue plastic, what they call fine line tape, because what I wanted to do, the window has to be 16 inches in diameter. I wanted to shorten the hole up to allow for a frame on the outside. We cut the portholes out, and we didn't put anything in there yet because we haven't got the glass cut for it yet. We haven't decided whether we're going to put a tinted glass in there or we might try to take a piece of plexiglass and give it a dome look, just like the old styles.
Handing a drill, tin snips, and a skill saw to a student is solid support of their talents. It's one thing to teach theory, it's a whole different thing to teach the confidence to use the tools.
we can't purchase anything because of the size. It's a lot bigger than what you could purchase back in the day. Once we got the portholes in and out of the way, our next step was to get to the sunroofs. We were putting a sunroof in the front and the back.
Okay.
All right.
So we're working in the penthouse.
Yes, we are. Things are looking up in the world here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the hole out of this with a saber saw this time instead of those electric shears. Bill went up, he took and taped it all off and got a nice neat edge for it. And then Gerard went up with the saw. Now we utilized a jigsaw on the roof part as opposed to the power shears. Reason being is there was ribs in the roof panels itself, so we had to use a saw that would go over the rib panels okay.
First time you've ever used one of those?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Is it February 2nd yet?
So once Gerard got the holes cut and everything and we placed the sunroofs in place, everything fit real well. So Dan and I took and got the interior frames in. Okay, so this snaps up into place and then that switch will go through that hole. The big struggle was getting that inside trim ring in.
Yeah. Can I just wear it as a hat?
Let's take a break here.
All right.
Dan was helping me put the trim ring in. Unfortunately, as soon as he turned away, I snapped it in. We went in already. He was a big help.
You know, I think it's time we start thinking about a name for this van. I'm voting for the Mullet because it's business in the front and it's definitely party in the back.
You're watching Chop Cut Rebuild.
Understanding the storied heritage of a significant vehicle like our Dodge Daytona is an important part of the process and the fun of building a classic.
Chop Cut has never been afraid of controversy, whether it was the origins of a vehicle, suspension modifications, or color code. You see, controversy means there's passion there, and there's no one more passionate than the Mopar community. Tim.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you finally.
Thank you for having us.
Well, hey, I'm excited about today. Tim Welborn, Muscle Car Museum. I've had the museum here for 7 years.
There it is. Yep. That is the engine that built a nation.
That right there, that's the king of all Mopar engines right there, and most any engine ever built. Mopar guys, myself being one of them, we've always been kind of the underdog in the car world. Your Chevys and Fords outnumbered us by many. But we had some cool colors, pistol grip shifters, polyglass, big fat rally wheel tires.
So you can save me a fortune on animation. I can just come down here and
we'll plug it up.
This is Ted's car.
Yeah, that's Ted's 68 Hemi Charger.
Ted has 5 acres of cars. He's got no room to park a car. He leaves one here with you.
My admiration for the Dodge Charger came from my father. He drove a 1967 Charger, then he went and traded it for a 1971 Charger. That car is here in the museum. That's my favorite of all. When I got 16, those keys were nowhere to be found. And that's why I'm still here and why this car is still here. My dad knew better to let a 16-year-old have a 426 Hemi under.
Okay. And what's the story on this car?
Probably one of the most special Chargers in here from color and just beautiful to look at is the 1971 Hemi Charger I have with a sunroof. It has that claim to fame of it actually costs more than a Cadillac. This last year, we decided to restore our old dating car. It's a 1970 Dodge Charger.
You've been with your wife since high school.
Yep.
And you've got same wife and same car.
Yep, there
Congratulations. Tim, this is really why we came down here to see you, was your expertise in the Daytona.
Charger Daytonas?
Yeah.
Well, I've had a few of them through the years, and this one's special. In 1969, when the Dodge Daytona came out, it was way ahead of its time. It was the first true aerodynamic, very stable car on the racetrack. And it was powered by the infamous 426 Hemi engine. One of the more special cars in here, no doubt, is the K&K Dodge that built by Harry Hyde for Bobby Isaac.
And you've got this displayed very nicely with your original car here, and then you go up, and this is the real deal.
Yep, this is the real deal. This is the car that went to Talladega and raced, and it was the Grand National Champion in 1970.
Yeah.
Went to Talladega, broke a world speed record there at 201. Then they went to Bonneville Salt Flats and broke 28 land speed records. The car handles beyond most anything today you would see. Why? Because of the aerodynamics.
And this had the same capabilities as the one above me here that actually was on the track.
Yeah, this wing right here and that race wing on the K&K is the same wing. The aerodynamics of the Dodge Charger Daytona was so good that it was outlawed after 1 year, with one exception. You could run it in the 1971 season with a small engine, not a 426 Hemi. The Hemi's been in this car practically the entire time I've owned it. I may have had it 6 months and I went and found a Hemi and put it in it. So to me, it's going to stay in it.
Right.
And I still value the car just as good as any 440 car value-wise, and I have a little more fun with it. These cars made you smile when you drove them, and we haven't forgot that. Times get more difficult, but if we can look at the old car that we used to have or still get to drive the one we used to have, nothing's sweeter.
So, we're not any strangers to controversy. We've had this happen over the years with us before about whether a car was or wasn't the cover car, those kinds of things. Is there going to be backlash that this car is so far gone that it's no longer a Daytona? Or, I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Well, here's my opinion. A car's never too far gone, number one, to bring back, especially a special bodied car like the Charger Daytona.
Right.
There's only 503 of them to begin with, and we don't want to lose even one of them.
I think you were absolutely right when you said that this is the attraction in Alexander City.
No, I think it pretty much is, especially if you want a used car.
Well, this used to be a dealership.
It did. It's been a dealership all of its life. Still is.
It still has that feel to it that makes you want to say, come on down here, folks. This weekend, we're going to make you a deal like you wouldn't believe. This plum crazy car is going to be sold so cheap, you're going to think I'm plum crazy. And it's still under warranty.
On the next Chop Cut Rebuild.
It's no better than when I left it.
It might be a little worse.
Is that right?
Sometimes you got to wreck it to fix it, right?
Well, I think the wreck it part was taking care of us.
I would agree. It's going to be a great car when it's finished. We always have our haters, but hey, the finished product's going to be awesome, so we're going to be in good shape there.
Game plan for today was to get the frame rails here, get them cleaned up, get them stripped, ready to go to the blaster so they'd be blasted and primed, ready to be put into the car.
Wesley, do you want to do this or supervise this?
Well, I'll do this one because it's got more stuff to come off.
Okay.
And I'll supervise you doing that one. How's that sound?
That sounds fair. Let's get some stuff.
Putting a school where there's a culture for the subject matter is why you'll find Wyotech in Daytona.
Chop Cut Rebuild came to the Daytona campus. We put a program together where we were going to build a custom van, and we thought, boy, this is a perfect opportunity to include our Daytona campus. So we came up with the idea of building a custom chopper from the same period.
They wanted to build an old school bike, something period from the late 60s, early 70s. So we come up with having an old Ironhead Sportster.
And in Sanford, Florida, the AMD Camaro project goes from parts to promise.
The first thing that we did today was that we put the cowl on the Camaro, and then we put the cowl side panels on the Camaro. I got to see detailed how a lot of our parts fit and exactly how they fit together.
Go ahead, see. You do yours, and then I'll do mine, and then Mike can judge how much better yours is.
I think it was a tie between the two of them in the welding contest.
I think Dan might have squeaked his pockets a little bit on who won.
Any fix will work on the next Chop Cut Rebuild.